amplifying Jesus on a whole new level. That's what we're all about here at Resonate Sound. Thanks for joining us. I'm Chris Heineken, your host. You know, there's an Allstate commercial, and they've always had this one signature catchphrase. And it's the selling catchphrase. That's your words, by the way. It says, Allstate, are you in good hands? Are you in good hands? Tonight, on Resonate Sound, we go a little bit deeper into that. Here is one of our Associate Pastors, Pam Hovis. And we discussed this subject. It all depends on whose hands it's in. Pam, it's all yours. Go get it. Let's go resonate.
I'm thankful that I know who Jesus is. Amen. The Lord is so good to us. Tonight I'm going to preach a sermon called, Whose Hand Is It In? I think that's what I told the boys. What I type sometimes and what I tell them are two different things, but depends on whose hand it's in. And I have a little bit of an illustration before we get into it, but I would like for y'all to please stand with me, and we're going to go to the Lord in prayer. And His presence has already been here tonight. We've already felt Him in the building. We know He's here. How many of you felt Him? Amen. We have an awesome praise and worship team, but they're even more awesome when the Spirit of God fills the room. Amen. So let's go to the Lord together and ask Him to move in this service tonight. Heavenly Father, we thank You for the opportunity to speak Your word and ask, Lord, that You just begin to move inside this building and begin to touch hearts. Help me, Lord, to present this the way You give it to me, and help me, Lord, to get myself out of the way, but most of all, Lord, let us open our hearts that we might hear what You have. Lord, we give You all the praise and the honor for it, and we're claiming victory in the name of Jesus. Amen. I was my husband's aunt sent me something the other day, and it stuck with me. Y'all have a seat. And it stuck with me, and the Lord began to deal with me, and that's how I came up with this sermon, this little thing that she sent me just off the wall. And so I want to talk to you about whose hands is it in, and did you know that it depends on whose hands it's in on what's going to happen. So if I could get you to look at my football here. A football in my hands is worth about $10. $12 maybe at Walmart. But in the hands of Peyton Manning, a football is worth $50 to $60 million. It just depends on whose hands it's in. It's not worth anything in mine, not anything more than what I paid for it. But he could take it and do something with it and make it worth millions of dollars. Everybody agree? I don't like bending over here. So now I got a basketball. A basketball in the hands of LeBron James is worth about $30 to $40 million. But in my hands, it's worth about $15. Because I might make a couple of baskets, but I'm not going to make $30 or $40 million worth of baskets. It's just not what God designed me to be, right? Anybody else out there as good as LeBron James? Speak up. So you get where I'm going with this? And so then Matthew brought me this, a golf club. And in my hand, it's worth about $50, but in actuality, my golf clubs are not worth that much because I have really beaten them up. And right now, they're sitting in Carmen's closet, and so they're probably not worth, it's probably not worth $50. But you put this golf club in the hands of Tiger Woods, and its value is greatly increased. Would you all agree? So I began to think about that tonight, so it depends on whose hands it's in. If I was to put a stick in my hand, I might be able to defend myself from a wild animal if it was attacking me. But if you put a stick in the hand of Moses, it parted the Red Sea. If I put a slingshot in my hand, it's just a kid's toy. I wasn't very good at the slingshot. I was the one who always got hit with the stuff coming out of the slingshot because my brothers were mean. But if I put that slingshot in the hand of David, it kills the giant. So you see, it depends on whose hand it's in. If you gave me 5 loaves and 2 little fishes, it would feed me and I'd have a bunch of bread left over. But if you put those fish and those 5 loaves in the hand of Jesus, it fed over 5,000. It depends on whose hands it's in. If you gave me a few nails, I could build a birdhouse. I doubt it. I'm sure it might be kind of a birdhouse. But if I took if we took those same nails and those same boards and we put the nails in Jesus' hands, it leads to salvation for those who trust and believe in him. You see, it just depends on whose hands it is put in. Whose hands are you putting your care in? Whose hands are you putting your sorrows and your disappointments and your worries and your fears and your doubt? Whose hands are they in? 1 Peter 5:7 says, casting all your care upon him, for he careth for you. When you put your care in God's hand, he puts his peace in your heart. And I like that. Because when we worry and fuss and fret over everything and never actually give it to the Lord, there's never peace. But when you're willing to give it all to him and surrender it all, then there's peace to be found in the Lord. Isaiah 41:10 says, fear thou not, for I am with thee. Be not dismayed, for I am thy God. I will strengthen thee, yea, I will help thee, yea, I will uphold thee with the right hand of my righteousness. Now, whose hand would you rather be in? If you leave everything in God's hand, eventually you'll see God's hand in everything. I heard that when I was a young Christian growing up. If you'll just give it to God, you'll start to see God in it. I wasn't that patient. I had to help God along. I thought he might need a right hand or a left hand, or maybe let me just nudge it this way so it'll all fall into place the way that I wanted it. But that's not what it said. It said if you leave everything in God's hands, eventually you will see the hand of God in everything. Now, wouldn't that be nice to walk out your door when you had a flat tire and say, I see God in that? It wouldn't be a pleasant thing. But if you looked hard enough, you could see God in that. So when I was a kid, Dad was trying to teach me how to change a flat tire. We were at our home and out on the country, nobody around, and out there in the gravel, he's taking my tire. He said, it's flat, you got to take it off. It wasn't. He was just trying to teach me. And so I'm out there fiddling around. I said, Dad, I don't need to learn how to do this. He said, why would you not need to learn? You're going to go off to college. You need to know how to do this. I said, there will always be a man to change my tire. And he just laughed out loud at me and said, get it done. About that time, the old farmer down the road walked up the hill and said, hey, sis, let me change your tire. That was God, but not in my dad's mind. It wasn't. But you say, why would you tell that story? Because we can look at the bad things and never see God in it. But we can look at things through God's eyes and see how he's protected us and brought us through things that we never would have made it through had it not been for him. It's just up to you how you want to look at it and whose hands you're going to put it in. The real problem with putting something in God's hands is not to take it back out. You know, how many times have we went before the Lord and we surrendered everything to him, and then all of a sudden decided, yeah, about the time we get out to the door and we realize I still ain't got money for that phone bill, and we think, oh, didn't matter what he told us right here in the church or what he told you on your knees at home, but we begin to think, that doubt is there. And we pick that right back up out of the hand of God instead of saying, I don't see that bill being paid today, but I'm thanking you, God, for paying it tomorrow. But we don't do that. We want to pick up things and try and work them out ourselves. But that's where faith comes in, guys, because faith unfolds by leaving everything in God's hands and by holding on to his hand in all things. Now, that's hard to do when your child is going a different direction than you want him to go, or you can't understand why your spouse is being this way, or how things are terrible at work. It's real easy to lose that faith, even though we claim we're Christians. It's easy to let that faith waver just a little bit because we can't understand. But we're not looking through God's eyes. You have to remember, Hebrews 11:1 says that now faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. I heard that so much when I was growing up as a little girl. My dad was a preacher, and I heard that till I just thought, okay, come on, Dad. Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. But I believe in my God. And to believe in Him, I have to have faith in Him. That though I don't see it happening right this minute, I still believe He is capable of performing whatever He promised me. I was wondering tonight, what do you hold on to that you need to place into the hands of Jesus? Is it a child, a hurt, an opportunity that you're just letting slip away? Don't you think it'd be better if we placed our fear in the hands of the ones who calm the sea so that He could calm your heart? Would it be better to leave your heart in the hand of the one who has given sight to the blind and let Him heal your wounded heart? Wouldn't it be great to put your financial desires in the hands of the one who owns everything so that He can give you peace and security? Wouldn't it be awesome if some of us could put our personal views in the hands of the one whose perspective is perfect so that He could give us clarity in what we're going through? You see, the joy of leaving everything in the Lord's hand is everything. That's what faith is. We have to believe that though we're going through hard times, He's still the one who's going to pull us through. Though we don't understand why we're under attack, He is still the one who's going to pull us through because we're in His hand. My dad always preached the sermon that no man can take you out of the hand of God, but we can walk away from God. So it's on your shoulders. Sometimes we dread the answer of no today from God, but there's always an answer of yes that's better the next day if God's involved. It's like having a relay runner who has to pass the baton in the race for the next person who's in the leg of the race. We need to make a clean exchange to Jesus and just pass it to Him and let Him have it so the race can be won. It's when we drop the baton or we refuse to pass it to Jesus, the race is lost. Have any of y'all ever ran in a relay race? I have. And if they don't get you a good handoff, that throws the rhythm of everything completely out. And before you know it, the one who is behind you is now passing you because you're still struggling to get that passed into the hand as you're running. And if it hits the ground, then your race is over. But you can't stop in the middle of the race because it hit the ground. Have you ever seen any of them just stop and say, oh, forget it? No, they scramble around and they try to pick it up. Sometimes we drop the baton, but we have a chance to pick it up and continue running if we'll just place it in the hands of Jesus. We need to hand off all to Jesus, whose hand is holding your life. Faithfully run the race with the one who gave His life for you. By faith, everything and everyone in the Lord's hands, leave everything and everyone in the Lord's hands and begin to look for the Lord's hand in everything and everyone. It's hard to see Him sometimes in others when they've done us wrong. But we have to look through the eyes of Jesus, not at how bad of a person they are, or not that they did us so dirty we could never recover from it. But if we look at them through the eyes of Jesus, we can see what He has planned for them and what His intentions are. I want to read to you, well, first let me say this. If you can trust the hand of God to hold you, secure you, and protect you, then your race is won. John 10, verses 24 through 29. It says, Then came the Jews round about Him and said unto Him, How long dost Thou make us to doubt? If Thou be the Christ, tell us plainly. And Jesus answered them, I told you, and ye believe not. The works that I do in my Father's name, they bear witness of me. Before you go on, let me say this. The works you do for our Father bear witness of Him. And if you are allowing yourself plucked out of his hand, then that bears witness that you are lost. If you're willing to sacrifice and hand everything over to his hand without a doubt, then you're bearing witness that you believe he is who he says he is. Next verse, please. But ye believe not, because ye are not of my sheep. And as I said unto you, my sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. I thought that was funny. Here I am, I'm in the hand of God, and no man can pluck me out. And he knows my voice above all other voices. That's Pam Hovis down there praying to me. And when I call upon him, he knows when I have faith. He knows that I believe in him. He knows, the Bible says he already knows what we have need of before we even ask. We are asking by faith to see him do it. It's not because we doubt that he can. It's because we have faith in him to do it. Next verse, please. And I will give unto them eternal life, and they shall never perish, neither shall any man pluck them out of my hand. But it's only the ones that believe him. Only the ones who have him in their heart and are willing to call upon his name. We used to sing a little song when I was a little girl called Put Your Hand in the Hand of the Man. Y'all remember that song? Nowadays, we don't want our hand in anybody else's but ours because we have to take care of everything. We've forgotten those simple little songs that used to teach us the very fundamental things about praising Jesus. And you know how simple it is to put your hand in the hand of God. I've gone through struggles and trials and storms when I thought I'm going to lose my grip. When he held on to me even stronger. Because I had faith in him. He was not going to allow me to go under. And you have to have that same kind of faith. Peter lost faith when he walked on the water because he took his eyes off of Jesus. But Jesus' hand was there immediately to bring him out. Sometimes we just forget to look to the man who has us in his hand, and we forget to call upon him. Okay, let's go to the next one. For my Father which gave them me is greater than all, and no man is able to pluck them out of my Father's hand. Isn't that a great thing? You know, these scriptures are a blessing to those who trust and believe Jesus as their Savior. It's one of many, many verses in the Bible that assure us that once we have placed faith and trust in the finished work of Christ, that he's guided us and protected us, and we all have placed our faith in him. We have to believe in him. Because of this, we can leave our problems in God's hands. Allstate is known for being one thing. They're the good hands people. Y'all heard that commercial before? They're good hands people. Indefinitely better to be safe in God's hands than to trust their good hands. You can count on them. They're not like Jake from State Farm where they're up all night waiting for you to call. Is that not true? Jake's always up, all hours of the night, wanting to talk about insurance. And then they have the good hands people, but they're not up all night. I'm going to tell you something. My Jesus is up 24/7. Like I told you at the beginning, he's never let us down. He'll never let you down. When you call upon him and seek him and earnestly desire him, he's always there. You're always in his hand of protection. You might be thinking, oh, that's a lot easier said than done. And you know it is. It's always easier to talk about what we need to do rather than actually doing it. We want to gripe and complain about it first, rather than just going and doing it. I laugh at my daughter all the time because she can gripe for 15 minutes and she could have had it done in 5. We're the same way. Oh, really? I have to go there? Why do I have to go there? If you could just go and get back, you'd be done with it. But you have to spend 30 minutes griping and complaining about it. Aren't we the same way with the things the Lord wants us to do? Oh, yeah, Lord, we're having a youth night tonight, and I don't really want to go, but I guess I'll go. Or, Lord, he asked me to preach tonight. He asked me to preach next Sunday, but Lord, I really wanted to go to the ball game, and I'm going to be up late, so, I don't know. I may not. I need to study, but now I ain't got time to study. See, we do that to our own selves, and then we diminish the very purpose he has for having us in his hand. He just asks for us to be faithful to him like he is faithful to us. There is nothing more effective, nothing more important than to be in the hand of God. In God's hands, there is power and loving intervention. That means he has the power to save us and protect us. But he also steps in to guide us when we're choosing the wrong path. How many of us have ever had somebody intervene for us? I know I had a praying mama, and when I was out in college and thought I didn't have to do what they taught me to do when I was at home, I'm sure she was on her, there's not a doubt in my mind she was not on her knees praying for me. Because she knew what I had been taught, and I chose to take my hand out of God's hand. When I was hanging off the side of a cliff one night, about 2 o'clock in the morning, in a Jeep, sideways off the edge of a cliff, I knew right then that I had forgotten who my God was. Did I go running back to God right then? No, because I still thought I had missed out on too much being raised as a Pentecostal little girl who couldn't go do anything. I thought, there's got to be more out there. So what if I'm hanging off the edge of a cliff? But God was very faithful to intervene on my behalf. And none of us were hurt. A tree about this big kept that Jeep from rolling down the edge of that cliff. Now, how does that happen? It was God. So, what I'm saying is, when you're in the hand of God, you have favor. And my mama had favor, though I had took myself out of the hand of God. And she began to intervene for me. So he has loving intervention for you and I. He doesn't get mad at us and say, well, she messed up, and she didn't do this, and he did that, and I'm not doing this. He just says, I know the plans that I have for you. When we think there's no answer, when we think there's no hope, God's hands will take care of us. Psalms 118:8 says, it is better to trust in the Lord than to put confidence in man. Philippians 4:19 says this, but my God shall supply all our needs according to his riches in Christ Jesus. Isaiah 59:51 said, behold, the Lord's hand is not shortened, that it cannot save, neither is his ear heavy, that it cannot hear. So when you find that you have taken your hand out of the hand of God, maybe you need to stop and just listen and say, Lord, I haven't heard you talking to me in a while. Lord, did I make a wrong choice? Have I slipped up? Have I lost my direction? He's not going to condemn you, but he'll love you right back into the palm of his hand if you just ask him. Psalms 139, verses 1 through 10, I want to read to you. It says, O Lord, thou hast searched me and known me. Thou knowest my downsitting and mine uprising. Thou understandest my thought afar off. Thou compassest my path and my lying down, and art acquainted with all of my ways. Oh, that means he knows our bad ones too. For there is not a word in my tongue, but lo, O Lord, thou knowest it altogether. Thou hast beset me behind and before, and laid thine hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me. It is high. I cannot attain unto it. Whether shall I go from thy spirit, or whether shall I flee from thy presence? If I ascend up into heaven, thou art there. If I make my bed in hell, behold, thou art there. If I take the wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even there shall thy hand lead me, and thy right hand shall hold me. Now, before y'all get all hung up on that, that means he knows everything you're doing. Simple Arkansas language. He knows everything you're doing. He knows the thoughts you're thinking, the roads you've traveled, the situation you're in, the times you've lied, the times you've cheated, the times you've been truthful, the times you've been thankful. He knows all of it. and still has you in the palm of his hand. He's not condemning. So tonight I want to ask you this. Whose hand are you placing your cares into? Are you carrying them around like an anchor around your neck? Are you passing them off to someone who is unable to carry them? Are you passing them off to someone who could care less about them? Are you passing them off to someone who has no understanding of you or your circumstances? You know, God knows every sort of detail of your life. And the choices you've made, the reasoning behind those choices you made, but he also knows the plans that he has for you and the abilities and the callings he has placed on your life. And what's so funny through all of that is that he still loves and desires you and your praise. That's my kind of God. So whose hands are you placing your life in? Who are you counting on? The one who knows your name and the number of hairs on your head? The one who will come to you, whose spoken name causes the devil to tremble? Whose hand are you in? If you can't say, I know I'm in the hand of God, then you're too far away. And you've made choices, but he's not going to condemn you for those choices. He wants you to be aware of them and know that all you have to do is say, Jesus, forgive me, and believe in him. And then you're right back in that hand. You're right back in the place where he intended for you to be all along. He knew you were going to make a mistake. He knew that there was, the Bible says all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. None of us in here are perfect, not even Christian. Can you believe it? But you know what? He knew he wouldn't be, but he still loved him. And he still carries you and I in the palm of his hand if we're willing to give him everything. And it's hard to turn your children over to God when you've raised them to the best of your ability. It's hard to surrender a spouse who doesn't know Jesus into the hands of God when you can, and that's all you can do. It's hard to say, I'll make a stand at work even though those around me don't know who Jesus is. But he always gives you strength, and in the hand of God there is power and the ability to be an overcomer. Lord's good tonight, isn't he?
Hi everyone, Cornbread Chris Honick here, of course, representing Resonate Sound and Resonate Church. We want to say a special thank you for worshiping with us right here today, or no matter where you are, whether you're joining us live and in person at Resonate Church, or whether you're joining us on television via your syndicated stations, or whether you're joining us internationally, courtesy of our YouTube simulcast, or no matter where you are. Thank you so much for your support each and every week. Now, you're saying, Cornbread, Resonate Church, you guys have blessed us so much, but we want to turn around and bless you through the after worship called Giving. How do we do it? Glad you asked. Here are 4 ways in which you can resonate your giving. Check it out. Number 1, you can resonate your giving by joining us live and in person right here at Resonate Church at 418 County Road 4021, just right off Highway 1 and Stadium Boulevard here in Jonesboro, Arkansas. Join our worship experiences Sundays 10 a.m. and 5 p.m., Wednesdays at 6:30. Option number 2, online. You see that laptop right there with that orange screen with a tithe link on it? Well, all you have to do if you want to resonate your giving online is just go to that tithe link and follow the directions here. Also, make sure you specify where you want your gift going towards. It's safe, secure, easy, simple to do. And that's if you want to resonate your giving online. All you got to do is go to that tithe link, follow all the instructions there. You can resonate your giving that way. Option number 3, your cell phone. Look, we all got one. You might as well put it to use, shall we? But guess what? If you want to resonate your giving using your cell phone, it's very simple to do. It's a thing called text to give. All you have to do is text the word give to that 501 number that you see right there on your screen. Safe, secure, fast, simple, easy to do. Option number 4, mailing. If you want to mail your contribution to us, via check or money order. You can do so with the address on your screen. But let's specify this. If you are sending check or money orders, please make all checks and money orders payable to Resonate Church. Let me repeat that. If you are sending check or money orders to that address on your screen, please make all your checks and your money orders payable to Resonate Church. And those are your 4 options on which you can resonate your giving. And if you want more info, all you have to do is go to our website, resonatechurchar.org, for all the details. That's awesome, Pam. Thank you very much. You know, whose hands are you in? Are you in the Master's hands? Are you in God's hands? Are you allowing God to literally form you in the image, in His image, or the way that He wants you to be? Or are you in your own hands? Or in the hands of someone else? Really think about that. If it was me, I'd rather be in the awesome hands of God. You know, Tremaine Hawkins and the late Walter Hawkins sang a song in 1990 that became a monster staple song in the gospel world. As one of the songs Walter Hawkins is actually, and Tremaine, they're actually famous for, and it's called Potter's House. And it says, the potter wants to put you back together again. You may be broken. If your heart needs mending. If you're cracked a little bit, stop on by the Potter's House. There's joy. There's peace. There's love. You get everything you need in the Potter's House. And God is the potter. You're the clay. And God is literally molding you if you allow Him to, which is, what we talked about, true heart of worship. If you allow God to mold you, if you allow His hands to mold you and to form you into the one that He wants you to be. Like that Allstate commercial says, you're in good hands. The best insurance you can ever get is actually, believe it or not, found in the book of James. And the benefits of that is found in Psalms 103. I mean, you get a lot. That's the insurance policy I want, right there. But make sure you're in the right hands. Because when you're in the right hands, it can mold you to being the resonator that He designed you to be. God, thank you for resonating your sound to us. Thank you at home for watching. And hey, like, share, follow us on Facebook. The info right there on your screen. And don't forget, if you're watching this episode on YouTube, all you gotta do is hit that like and subscribe right there on your screen. Hit that like and subscribe. And guess what? When you hit that subscribe button, if you have a little notification bell right there that you can do it on, guess what? Why don't you hit that bell, get notified, and you will not miss an episode of Resonate to Sell. Until next week, for our whole entire crew, I'm Chris Honiker. We say to you, show love, give peace, you know it. Resonate Jesus. We'll see you next week right here, same time, same place, right here on the same station. Good night, Canada. Good night, America. And good night, world. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week. Good night.